Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you are new here, I do appreciate you taking a chance and checking out this video. Wow, welcome back, Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark, and WNBA fans. If you haven't been here before, I always do a post-game video for the Indiana Fever, and they are finally back after a month-long absence for the Olympics. So, first, sorry if I feel worn out. I'm going to explain that right now. If there are any die-hard, lifelong Philly sports fans out there, you know what I mean when I say this Fever team is starting to feel a little bit like rooting for a Philly team with huge blown leads and just taking you on a roller coaster and breaking your heart and all of that stuff that it comes with being a Philly sports fan. This is starting to become a habit and I don't like it. But let's let's dig in. Before I even dig into the particulars of the game, I want to point out a couple of things first. And look, this is partly just being the youngest child. You develop certain personality traits. So I just feel like I gotta kind of jab this into the Angel Reese fans just a little bit and point out for those that didn't notice when the Indiana Fever had the ball at the end of the game was basically over, and there's a difference between the shot clock and game clock. So the Fever, they can either shoot or turn the ball over. If they don't, it'd be a shot clock violation. There's still about, what, 5 or 6 seconds left, I believe. So instead of going for a basket and getting a career high in points, because Caitlin Clark finished this game 1 point below her career high of 30, she finished with 29 points. Instead of going for that bucket, she dribbled out the shot clock, which added to her turnovers, and turned the ball over, gave it back to Phoenix. Just saying she chose to do that. Anyway, look, Clark also now has her fourth game with 25 more points, 5 or more assists, and 5 or more rebounds, which is a new WNBA rookie record. She had passed Diana Taurasi, who had 3 all the way back in 2004, and there were, I think, 4 players who had 2. She is also the first rookie in WNBA history, the first rookie in WNBA history. See how I repeated that? It sounded a little bit like a blues song, didn't it? Anyway, to record 450 or more points and 200 or more assists in the same season. By the way, she's actually the 6th player ever in WNBA history to reach those numbers in a single season. She has 13 games left. And yes, the seasons used to be a little shorter, but I believe the shortest season was 30 games, I believe. So she still did it in 27 games. So, but anyway, let's dig in a little bit. I think what you saw tonight was pretty much everything good and everything bad about the Indiana Fever. They really, really struggle with consistency. This is not the first time they came out and put up like a 30-plus point first quarter and then struggled to score. You can see it on here, 33, 21, 19. Then they came alive a little bit in the fourth and popped to 25. Okay? Now, and defensively, they started out great. It was a 33-16 first quarter. They were up 29 points in this game and completely coughed up that lead to Phoenix. Completely coughed it up. Absolutely crazy to cough up a 29-point lead. They coughed up a 31-point lead last time they played Phoenix. And now, of course, the good in that is, even though there were lulls offensively and defensively, but look, Phoenix is a high-scoring team, and they started lighting it up from 3. And actually, I think, and you saw it in the numbers, only giving up 37 points the first half, only 16 the first quarter. I thought they actually looked pretty good early on in their rotations defensively, and that kind of fell apart a little bit, and Phoenix started getting hot. But one of the things, again, that doesn't seem like it's going to change. Alarms going off, but not going to change. Between the second quarter and then early in the third combined, huge Phoenix runs, and Christie Sides doesn't do anything. Look, all sports, especially a sport like basketball, has swings and momentum changes. And you may have a 20, 25 point lead and then, win by 7 or 8, but you can't give it up completely, and you can't do that in multiple games consistently. Look at the Mercury game last night against Chicago. They basically won the game by the first quarter margin, right? Like they started hot, blew Chicago Sky out of the water early, and then basically played even basketball the rest of the way. And that does happen a lot. But you cannot blow 29-point leads. You cannot let that happen. And you have two problems here. You have Christie Sides, who can't coach during a game. She can't manage a game. She doesn't understand how to help her players. Because look, ultimately it's the players, but coaches can do certain things at certain times to help their players change things around. And that just didn't happen there. I didn't see any adjustments in how the game was being played. I didn't see any. I mean, there was one. I won't say she didn't call timeouts, but when we really started to see Phoenix get their run in, there wasn't a good timeout called to help stop that momentum for the Phoenix Mercury. And then the other is, and that's the first thing I'm going to look at here before we get into some of the good stuff, because this is probably the best game to show it. And that is tonight for some reason. And look, I get it for the season. We've got to manage minutes. I mean, that's what I said, why I said in that video about picking up Sims, because Clark can't play 38, 39 minutes tonight. And I tell you what, this seems like a lot. I watched the game, and I can't believe that Clark actually played 36 of the 40 minutes. That seems high, right? Like, these actually seemed high for the number of minutes bench players got. But, I mean, 33, 37, 36, that seems higher. Maybe there was just so much damage done when they were on the bench that it really popped. Because if you look at this, Dantas and Wheeler played 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Overall, probably not terrible, but in terms of the rotations, it was terrible because they played, I'd say all of Dantas's 10 minutes, I think, had Wheeler out there. -7 for Dantas, and she didn't play that badly. I mean, she grabbed 5 rebounds in 10 minutes, had a couple of assists, but her and Wheeler, -7, -6, what every single other player that played was a plus. So maybe that stretch of them being out there together, not the best thing. Those are the types of things that you have to be aware of as a coach, and you have to do a better job of managing, which goes back to my point. When I talked about Sims, I was surprised. I saw a number of people in comments and then also on Twitter that were like, oh, well, it's this late in the season. You got to leave the team alone. We can't make changes. And that's fascinating because as a lifelong sports fan, I've never heard that before. I've never seen that before by teams. First of all, they have 35% of their schedule left going into tonight's game. Okay, we're not at, it's not the last week or two of the season. They still have 13 more games. They only played 40 and they had 14 left. Right? That's what 35% of the season left. That's a lot of season. But you look at any sport and you get to a certain point near a trade deadline, and teams who feel they can make a push in the playoffs and they want to win that year, they make changes. Teams who feel they're completely out of it, they make changes as buyers. They're buying talent. I don't necessarily mean actually buying, but they may give up some of their future, like in terms of draft picks and stuff, to get something for now. And then other teams will do the opposite. They'll give up talent for now for those draft picks because they're like, we don't have a shot this year. So let's plan for the future because we know we've got a couple teams who think they can win it. If they add somebody, we'll give them somebody. We'll get a draft pick for next year or the year after or a couple of picks. And that's just always how it's been in all sports. And yet so many Fever fans are like, no, no, no. It's the end of the season. Don't make changes. So, to my point, this team doesn't have enough depth. If you look at the bench, now I know Fagbenley didn't play, but who knows when she's coming back? She's been out most of the season. You almost have to be like, we're without Fagbenley. So they have no depth because Dantas and Wheeler are a big negative. So that means what? Lexi Hull's coming off the bench. You cannot go 13 more games and a playoff run with basically 6 players. You can't do it. They need to figure out how to add, and whether that means, maybe that means giving Berger a shot, right? They haven't given Berger a shot. Wallace, we know, isn't the answer. I don't think they're going to give time to Saxton. Wallace, we know what Wallace is. I mean, that was a failed experiment. So maybe you've got to give time to Berger. Maybe that's the answer at guard, because you cannot throw games simply by putting in some bench players, and you need to give your starters some rest. Absolutely need to give your starters some rest. So that is not good. Um, One of the things we saw tonight, again, going back to the offense, I mean, the Fever, even with their lulls and some poor defense at times, they're going to be tough to beat when they're shooting 38.9% as a team from three. That's crazy. 94% from the line, 45.6% overall, and that's with almost half their shots coming from three. That's incredible. That's why they had 98 points, even if they had a lull in the second and third quarters, right? That is big stuff. And then look, I mean, like, and they were clutch tonight too. That's the thing. Samuelson was only 1 for 3, but that 1 3 she hit in the second half was huge. Lexi Hull, 2 for 3 from three. That's all. But those 2 threes were huge. In fact, one of them came when I believe Phoenix had their first lead of the game, I think. I think it was like 60. They took the lead like 62-61, and then Lexi Hull buries a three to go back up 64-62. And then, of course, Mitchell lit it up, 28 points, 6 of 13 from three. Clark lit it up with 29 points, 4 of 11 from three. They combined to be 10 of 24 from three. And going into the break, the last 5 games before the Olympic break, Clark was shot 29% from three, and Kelsey Mitchell shot 24% from three. And by the way, one thing I wanted to do was give a shout out to Mitchell, because while shooting a lot, she wasn't a black hole tonight. Like, they were good open shots, and she made some really nice passes, including a skip pass to Caitlin Clark that I absolutely did not see coming. I thought she was going to shoot it. There were a couple of times when I think she actually passed up open shots, and that skip pass to Caitlin Clark, it then went from Clark to Samuelson, and that was Samuelson's only 3 of the night, and that was huge. She made good decisions tonight. Look, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Clark, 28 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 11 of 22, 6 of 13. Clark, 29 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, 4 of 11 from three, 8 of 16 overall, 9 of 10 from the line. 29 points on only 16 shots. That was a dynamic duo tonight. And look, I'm going to give Boston a lot of credit. She actually had the highest plus minus. Her and Clark out at the same time in that third quarter with Wheeler and Dantas in. That was rough to watch. Boston started out really well offensively. She struggled a little later, but overall, still 14 points, 5-11, 9 boards. Melissa Smith, 9 boards. You know, Phoenix is a rebounding team, so that was what, 39 rebounds total. They out-rebounded the Phoenix Mercury 39-31. How about that, folks? That's a big deal. That is a really big deal for Phoenix. But let's see if we have a few. I'll probably do another tomorrow. But now, look, finally, here we go with the Clark report, finally saying what I've been saying for a while. All WNBA team. I've been talking MVP, but WNBA team will work as well. But she looked good on the three tonight. And there was one that I could not believe. You know she's got it going when she does that stuff, right? There was one I couldn't believe. didn't go in. And of course, as we all know, she can pass the ball for sure. Here we go. She's waiting. She's waiting. Get it back. Get it back. And let me just throw this around you. Nice job by Boston. So that was a really nice play as well. Overall, like they looked good offensively early, and then it disappeared, and we didn't see a whole lot of adjustments, which is, I think, the biggest problem. Oh, yeah, I wanted to show you this. This is from obviously a different view, but this was an incredible pass to Kelsey Mitchell. So let's check this out. This is coming right at you, folks. There you go. In stride for an easy bucket. By the way, this game started off with an easy missed layup by Melissa Smith, which just gave me flashbacks. But you know how it is. I believe. Oh, is this a three? I'm not sure. This might be a three, but I want to get one of her. I do want to get at least one of her. Maybe this is nope. That's crazy. Oh yeah, that one I also want to show for those who say all she can do. Well, I'll get to the all she can do is threes, but then it was narrowed down to all she can do is go to her left for the shooting the three. But here we go to the right off the dribble from way out in rhythm. Boom, nailed it. But I wanted to show. Is this it? Yeah, I think this is it. Okay, I knew I had it here. This is the one for. Sorry, it's a little blurry. This is the one for all of those that say all she can do is shoot threes, and she can't dribble. She doesn't have any handles. So let's see how this goes against a very good defender in Copper. And one. And of course, we know she made the free throw. So that was pretty big. And yeah, 100% on this. Let's see if I have this. Just got to back it up for you. Great, great pass to NaLyssa Smith. By the way, did you notice NaLyssa Smith, as soon as she got right, you watch NaLyssa Smith's head, right? She's going up the court looking one way. But see, this is the learning process too, and this is the getting comfortable with your teammates. Look at the head adjustment on a swivel. As soon as she gets there, she turns and looks the other way because she knows, hey, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that ball. That pass is coming to me. And then I gotta point this out because this really annoyed me. This is Copper again. I've shown press conference video of her. I mean, here we go again. This is like the most basic. I'm gonna foul you, and I'm gonna make sure that you don't get the bucket and a free throw. Like this is as basic as it gets. This is what kids in fourth grade do. It shouldn't bother anyone ever, but Copper has a problem with it. It just wrapped her up. And look, oh, she wants to fight. Her teammates have to stop her because she's ridiculous. Toss her out of the game because it's nonsense. And then there's Caitlin Clark. It's just a foul. Really, that is the most basic foul. And look, I know you say, oh, you're overreact. Yeah, I am overreacting on purpose to make a point that when you have this pattern of behavior, I feel, yeah, you at some point have to make an example because it's ridiculous and it's exhausting to watch that kind of stuff happen over and over and over again. But I really, overall, look, the lulls lasted a long time. Unfortunately, we've got the issues with no depth on the bench. They struggle. They just struggle offensively at times when it looks like they get out of the rhythm. They miss a couple of shots and then they start chucking a little bit. I would have liked to have seen more old-fashioned true pick and rolls with Boston. Like when the offense stopped cooking, go back to that. And I don't think they went back to that enough to get them back into a rhythm. I think it would have been really good for Boston too because she started out hot, then she started struggling offensively. Overall, she played really well. I'm not, I mean, she had an assignment for sure, and she did really, really well in that assignment. Let's double check. In fact, I believe she really outplayed Griner. Yeah, Griner only had 4 rebounds, none on the offensive boards, right? And was a -6. Awesome. I mean, Boston played really well, but I would have liked to have seen when they were struggling, especially in those middle quarters, to go to more pure pick and roll with Aliyah Boston to get out of those struggles, get some easy buckets down in the paint, get some easy mid-range jumpers, that sort of thing. But I know there's a bunch more highlights, and I wanted to gather some stuff maybe from Mitchell and Hull and just kind of go through the offense, do another one of those videos if I can get the highlights for it and kind of go through their offense of like what is working and what are they doing, and then what are the struggles when it's not working, and how do you adjust? Because Christy Sides isn't really adjusting. But I'm gonna leave it there. Thanks for checking out this video. Let me know what you thought of the game down below. What you think this means going forward. This is a big win. Oh, last thing. I'm sorry. Last thing I do want to show you. We can check it out here. Look, I don't think they're going to get a number 5 spot, right? I mean, look, the 4th and 5th are playing lights out, 8-2 and 7-3. But they can catch Phoenix and get that 6. And really, we have no idea who the 3 team's going to be. I mean, it could be Connecticut, Minnesota, Vegas, or Seattle. I mean, they could all be that number 3 pick. But so I don't know if there's going to be much difference between 7 and 6, but they could get 6. They could get 6. They're only a couple games behind Phoenix, and they swept Phoenix. They beat 3-0 against Phoenix Mercury this year, so that's pretty impressive. But anyway, let me know what you thought down below about this game, what that means going forward. Now, do you think maybe if they can get a solid player that they should do that? Um, I know they talk about cap issues and this and that, and it definitely is different than, say, the NBA and so forth. But I got to imagine that there's someone that they can just cut. I would think, even if it's Dantas, and I'm not saying that to do that, but I'd have to look at how the contracts are structured in terms of that to add another player. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you later.